today I want to bring in the element of revolutionising your oral health. So we're going to use a technique called oil pulling. This is actually an Ayurvedic technique that is thousands of years old. And if you know anything about Ayurveda, it really helps to detoxify any excess doshas from your system. If you don't know anything about that, don't worry about it. That's not really the focus of this session, but we're going to use it to really revolutionize our oral health. So we know now that our oral health is really intrinsically connected to our general state of health and well-being and our future health. So I'm going to go through just a little kind of Ayurvedic oral morning routine for you that's really going to help. So it's going to help with dental hygiene, oral hygiene, but also it's going to make you feel really light, bring clarity of mind, and just generally detoxify the body. So the first thing that you want to do, which I won't show you on here because it's a little bit boring and not very glamorous, but is you want to brush your teeth. So just a nice gentle brush with a natural toothpaste, whatever that might be for you. And then we're going to scrape your tongue. So if you haven't done this before, it's really good at clearing all that stuff off your tongue that might build up overnight. In Ayurveda we call that armor. It's kind of toxicity in the body, but it's just good at kind of clearing the palate and getting rid of all of that stuff. So you can get a fancy tongue scraper. I wouldn't recommend a brush because that just kind of moves things around, or you can use this high piece of kind of fancy technology which has been around for many years, which is a spoon. And all you do is you take the spoon, stick out the tongue, and you scrape from the back of the tongue to the front. Rinse off any gunk that comes up under the tap, and do it a few more times. You don't want to press too hard, you're not trying to damage your tongue in any way, you're just getting rid of that stuff and washing it off. And then we're going to come to our oil pulling. Now, let me tell you that this is an incredible method to use. I'm going to suggest that you start with an organic coconut oil because it's more palatable. Eventually you might move to an organic cold pressed sesame oil. That's more traditional and more effective, but it's a little bit harder to handle. So I'm trying to break you in gently, and also coconut oil is something that you can use on your skin, in your cooking, so it's got a multitude of uses. So we're going to use this coconut oil today. So I'm going to talk before I put it in my mouth because I won't be able to talk anymore. And some people say that this really makes them gag or feel not very great the first time that they do it. And I have to say it probably took me a couple of days of doing this until I felt comfortable. And so it might be that you only do it for a couple of minutes. And it might be that after that you build up to a couple more minutes, a couple more minutes. I do this for about 20 minutes. So how it would fit into your schedule is that you would put this in your mouth, it would melt, and then you start to swish it around your mouth, and then you get on with other things. So generally, I would then go and jump in the shower or the bath, get myself ready for the day, and then I would go to drink and eat. But you can kind of change it around. It's not recommended to do this after you've eaten, so you definitely want to do this before breakfast, and traditionally not before you've drank anything. But if you need to have a little bit of a water or something beforehand, that's totally fine. So, the method, bearing in mind that you might have to do this for eventually 20 minutes, let's aim for 5 maybe the first day, but even if you can do it for 2, that's great. You're going to swish it around your mouth in a very gentle fashion, because after 20 minutes, if you're doing it like a mouthwash, like something like crazy, your mouth is going to get really tired. It's actually really good to give yourself a little facelift, actually. Lots of benefits to this one. But you're going to gently swish it around your mouth. The oil in the weather that we have here today is going to be set, so it's going to be solid. In other climates it'll be liquid already, but you'll let that melt in your mouth, and then you'll just gently begin to swish. Do not swallow the oil. If when you're starting off you happen to swallow a little tiny bit, then that's fine. But if you need to cough, you need to swallow, it's better to spit it out and then try again. And I just want to remind you, probably not to spit this down the sink, because it is going to go into the water and it is going to be hard if it's cold. So what I generally do is either spit it into a little jar and get rid of it in the bin, or I actually just wander out into the garden because I think the plants like it. But anyway, okay, so how much are we going to take is a good question, but start off with a kind of heaped teaspoon. I'm going to pop this in my mouth, I'll show you the swilling technique, and then I'll turn it off because you probably don't want to see me doing it for 20 minutes. So here it goes. It's melting.